as younger kids, our favorite things were Marvel. Loved Marvel comics. We had tons of comic books, and they used to have I don't know if you remember in the early '90s they had Marvel cards, whereas like everyone collected them and have like Spider-Man and Punisher. Like so, we collected the hell out of those things and Marvel toys. We just loved Captain America and the
Yeah.
Fantastic Four. I was like very big into that, and then my main passion and my brothers too, growing up, was Star Wars.
Cool.
But this was before there was the prequel movies. It was just the original three
Yeah.
movies.
So yeah.
Um, yeah, that's all you had, and we had it on VHS. And it wasn't even remastered yet, so it was like just the old '80s VHS that was like kind of looked shitty, and I loved it. It was like my favorite thing in the world. We watched those so many times.
Who introduced
Uh,
you to that? Because I
my
mean,
cousins,
right.
we come from I don't know, I think a fairly large family. I've got nine cousins. So that my parents, my mom has three siblings, and all of them had three kids.
Right.
So yeah, and we're all about the same age. My oldest cousin Paul, I think he maybe just turned 50, and my youngest cousins are like in their mid 20s. But the main chunk of us were all, 80s kids. So we were, born from like 77 to like 87. It was like
Yeah.
that 10-year gap. So we all hung out, and my oldest cousin Paul and his brother Steven, who are probably I think Steven's like 45 or so now, 46, but they saw Star Wars in the theater, and they
They're
had
my
all the old,
age.
yeah, and they had all the old Kenner toys,
Did you
the
get the
original one.
hand-me-downs then?
Yeah, I've got a
Yeah.
bunch. Yeah,
Oh,
I start.
amazing.
Yeah. Um. So I mean, they have most of them. Me and Rob had to collect kind of our own Kenner stuff, and then Hasbro had released them in mid '90s. They did like
All the
another.
bulked up
Yeah,
ones.
oh, yeah, they're all beefed up. Yeah, they're so stupid looking, but I have a ton of them. Uh,
That's when I probably did the same thing as everybody else. Brought them because that's when we thought they was going to be valuable because all the old
yeah,
stuff had
because
got
all the old
valuable.
ones were value. Yeah, all the. Well, for a while they weren't though. The old ones that you would find them at flea markets on
Mm.
the table. Just like tons of stormtroopers, and we would grab them, and we had, I had a Darth Vader and a not to get too Star Warsy. I had the
That's fine. You
character
can go for that as much as you want. It's all right.
Bib Fortuna, who's like the Jabba the Hutt's like right hand man guy. I had those two toys since I can't even remember having toys. I was so young. I had to have been 3. And I had those two toys, but I had no idea what they were from. So I just always would play with these guys, but I didn't know what they were.
Just look
And then
cool.
and then my cousins introduced me to Star Wars. And it was mind blowing. Actually, the first one I saw was Return of the Jedi. We watched them backwards, so I really had no idea what was going on. But I was 10, so I was just enjoying the spectacle.
Yeah.
And so that because they wanted us to see the most exciting one in their opinion, so we watched the Empire. We watched Return of the Jedi, then we watched Empire, and then we watched New Hope. But then as soon as I saw them, I loved them so much. So then we had our mom buy us the VHS set, and then they had re-released them in the theaters in the mid '90s, and we went to see them in the theater. That's when they put out those bulky character
Yeah.
toys, and then they kept, then they started doing the prequels and all that other stuff. But yeah, Star Wars, Marvel, those are our two real big things when we were kids growing up.
Do you like a bit of wrestling as well? We spoke about that in the past.
Yes, oh
Yeah.
yeah. Wrestling, I was really big into. In when I was young, like
Yeah.
in the late '80s and early '90s, and it was like Hogan and Macho Man and Jake the Snake and Bam Bam and Honky Tonk and like all those
Yeah.
characters. And my cousin on my dad's side used to have like the rubber wrestling guys that were like kind of, they were just always doing like the strongman positions, or they had like their, they couldn't move, they're just big rubber, and we'd play with those all the time. He had all of them. And then I stopped watching wrestling for a while, and then when I got into high school, it was like the Attitude Era
Right.
of WWE, which is like the best, I think, undisputed era of watching that show. We had like Stone Cold and Bret Hart and Undertaker and The Rock, and then me and my brother got back into wrestling because we we're
Yeah.
like, oh, this is so ridiculous. It's just so insane. And I remember every Thursday, or I think it was every Thursday. They used to have, it was before they had SmackDown. They added SmackDown,
Right.
and it was just Raw for a while. And we would watch Raw, and then they added SmackDown. and then that was on Thursday nights, I think. And then every Thursday we would go. We'd be because we'd go to the pizza place by our house and hang out with all my friends every day after school. But then we'd all rush home for SmackDown at night, like on our bikes. I remember.